Rachel Zegler, thanks for coming on my show. I sold out years ago and I'm a coward. So you recently starred in the movie Snow White. Tell me, what was it like to play Snow Latina?
First of all, Steven, it was weird. But I did enjoy reimagining the character as a woke Colombian woman who looks like a fish.
Actions! That's life. Rachel Zegler was supposed to step out smiling for the cameras. Reporters were lined up, flashes ready. The whole room buzzed with Disney's PR magic. But behind the scenes, a whole different story was unfolding. Two insiders who were there that day say Rachel never even made it to the stage.
Thing is, the internet, when the internet decides that they hate somebody, they hate them. They hate them, and that's it. And I feel like, especially with people like this that have like these types of viewpoints, I don't see her coming back from this at all. I think she is totally cooked with this.
She didn't leave the dressing room. They claim she broke down, physically and emotionally, sobbing hard, her hands shaking like crazy.
That's what happens when you're a bitch, is that nobody likes you. I know it sounds crazy, but that's those are the consequences of your actions. That's life.
One witness said she was hyperventilating, curled up in a corner, crying out the same words over and over. They pulled it. They pulled it. They pulled the whole thing. The news hit like a punch to the stomach. Just minutes earlier, Rachel was reportedly told that Disney Plus had yanked the Snow White remake off their streaming release schedule. No press release, no reason, just wiped out. This was the movie meant to shoot her straight into global stardom. Gone. Just like that. Security was called. PR staff scrambled to get things under control. One assistant tried calming her, got snapped at. Another insider says the hallway was cleared like there was a full-on security threat. That's how intense it got. For those who witnessed it, it wasn't just a meltdown. It was a career shattering in real time. And the worst part, what happened next made it clear. This wasn't some mistake. It was a cold, calculated decision, a silent execution, and every single person in Hollywood knew exactly what it meant. It all started as a whisper. Eagle-eyed fans caught it first. Poof! The Snow White remake tile vanished from Disney Plus's preview lineup. No banners, no teaser drops, no coming soon. Just gone! Then the trades picked it up. Snow White was missing from Disney's upcoming content roadmap. No statement, no explanation, nothing. It wasn't delayed. It wasn't rescheduled. It was straight up erased. Industry insiders knew right away this wasn't a pause. This was a purge. In Hollywood, silence ain't neutral. When a studio pulls a $120 million project from all official channels, they aren't moving it. They're burying it. Multiple sources close to Disney allegedly confirmed what fans were already whispering. Disney had decided Snow White was no longer a go. Not in theaters, not on streaming, and not with Zegler attached. One entertainment journalist even called it the cleanest corporate kill I've ever seen. Executives didn't want a scandal. They didn't want to own up to a flop. They just wanted it gone, and quietly, they got what they wanted. Behind closed doors, word spread fast. The project that was once meant to lead Disney's big diversity rebrand had turned into a liability, an embarrassment, and worst of all, a risk. But here's the twist. That risk, it had a face, and her name was Rachel Zegler. Whether Disney says it or not, this wasn't just about the movie anymore. It was about her. And when she found out, it shattered her. But how did she find out? And what did she do in those first moments after the news hit? What happens next will leave you absolutely speechless. It was supposed to be just a routine press appearance. Hair, done. Makeup, on point. Her team, what was left of it, had gone over the talking points. She'd practiced her answers, smiled in the mirror, put on her game face. But then, it all fell apart with one phone call. An insider close to the event spilled the tea. Rachel Zegler was just minutes from stepping into the spotlight when a Disney exec reached out, not in person, not with sympathy, but through a cold, blunt phone call that lasted barely 2 minutes. And the message? It's been pulled from the slate. No announcement will be made at this time. That's it. No warning, no PR spin, no context. Just bam! Rachel reportedly stood frozen in silence as the call ended. Then she asked, "What do you mean pulled?" But no one in the room had any answers. They didn't know either. And that's when it snapped. One crew member described the shift as instant. The room went from calm to chaos. Rachel allegedly grabbed her phone and launched it across the dressing room. Smack! It hit the wall so hard it cracked the case. She started pacing, muttering, then crying, then gasping. "They used me," she reportedly screamed. "They used me and then threw me away." The staff on site were in total panic. Someone tried calling her publicist. No answer. Another person scrambled to reach a producer. Also, no response. Then she collapsed, straight to her knees on the carpet, clutching her chest, struggling to breathe. One makeup artist later told media, "She looked like someone who'd just been hit by a truck made of betrayal." Paramedics weren't officially called, but a medical staffer tied to the venue reportedly stepped in to stabilize her. By the time Disney's PR team showed up, it was too late. Rachel wasn't speaking anymore, just sitting there, red-eyed, motionless. She skipped the press event, ignored every message that came in that day. And from that moment on, Rachel Zegler went silent. But here's the thing. This wasn't the first time she'd spiraled under pressure. The real story? It started long before Snow White got pulled. The public backlash that led her here? It had been building for months. The truth is, Rachel didn't fall out of favor overnight. Yeah, her backstage breakdown was sudden, but the public had been pulling away for a while. Slowly, relentlessly. And in many ways, she gave them the ammo. It all started with one quote, but it spread like wildfire. "It's not 1937 anymore. Snow White doesn't need a man to save her." She meant it to sound empowering. But to millions of Disney fans, it came off as arrogant, dismissive, even hostile to the very legacy that put her in the spotlight. And she didn't stop there. In interview after interview, Rachel kept mocking the original film, took shots at the prince, and seemed to wear her dislike for classic Disney like a badge of honor. Clips of her interviews got chopped up, memed, and blasted across TikTok. YouTube creators roasted her. Late-night hosts used her as easy joke material. Even some feminists called her tone performative. Less about empowerment, more about EGO. And it wasn't just the fans turning. Behind closed doors, Disney execs were allegedly getting nervous too. Quietly, cautiously, watching it all unfold. Some insiders warned her team, rein her in, but they didn't. Or maybe they couldn't. And the damage just kept snowballing, week after week. Not My Snow White started trending. Fan edits popped up everywhere, mocking her performance. People posted side-by-side comparisons with other Disney princesses who embraced their roles, like Emma Watson as Belle or Lily James as Cinderella. Then came the petitions. Over 50,000 people reportedly signed to have her recast. Others demanded Disney scrap the entire film. Sponsors started pulling away. Merch quietly vanished from pre-order pages. And through all of it, Rachel stayed loud, stayed visible, almost defiant, until she wasn't. Because when the backlash stopped being just internet noise and turned into corporate silence, everything flipped. That's when the firings started. That's when the walkouts happened. That's when Rachel Zegler's name began vanishing, not just from trailers, but from conversations behind closed doors. And behind the scenes, it was unraveling even faster. Snow White wasn't the only mess on her plate. There was Evita, lawsuits, screaming matches. She was losing control of the whole narrative. And now, even people closest to her were backing away. But the darkest turn? Oh, it hadn't even come yet. Because as her career was crumbling right in front of her, Hollywood's power players were already making their next moves. And these moves made one thing painfully clear. Rachel Zegler wasn't just being removed. She was being replaced. Yeah, Snow White getting canceled grabbed the headlines. But behind the scenes, Rachel Zegler's entire world was already falling apart. Her inner circle, gone. Her agent, fired. Her manager, fired. Even her publicist reportedly cut ties after multiple internal clashes, all within 1 week. No public statements, no farewell posts, just pure silence. Insiders called it a scorched earth reset, but others weren't so polite. One Hollywood executive allegedly told a trade outlet, "She's radioactive. No one wants to touch her right now." And it wasn't just Disney turning away. Reports from Broadway say the Evita revival, where Rachel had been cast, had turned into a full-on backstage nightmare. There were claims of explosive fights during rehearsals, co-stars threatening to walk out. Leaked audio captured shouting matches that sounded more like a meltdown than a musical. One cast member reportedly told their agent, "If she's still in, I'm out." The production scrambled to do damage control, but the damage was already done. Then came the rumors, lawsuits, financial penalties, whispers that Rachel could be held personally liable for breaking her contract, including a possible $5 million fine for early termination. And then, the sponsors pulled back. Brands that had once lined up to work with her began stepping away, quietly. Her images were pulled from marketing campaigns. Promo budgets got slashed. Even her Instagram? It started looking emptier. The collapse wasn't slowing down. It was speeding up, fast. Fewer sponsored posts, less engagement, a digital silence that mirrored the way the real world was backing away. Behind closed doors, agents and casting directors were already moving on. Whispers of new projects started circulating, familiar titles, familiar roles, and none of them had Rachel's name attached. Instead, names like Jenna Ortega, Isabella Merced, and Ollie Green started popping up. The industry was shifting fast. And Rachel? She was getting left in the dust. The same girl who had been groomed for stardom, launched by Spielberg, once crowned the new face of Disney, was now a full-blown cautionary tale. But while Hollywood was quietly shutting the door, something even more chilling was happening. Because this story, it wasn't just about a career loss anymore. It was turning into something deeper, something personal. And the world? They were starting to notice the cracks. Rachel wasn't just fading from headlines, she was disappearing from herself. In public question mark, most of Hollywood stays polite, but behind the scenes, the gloves are off. One insider put it bluntly. Rachel Zegler went from Hollywood's next golden girl to a liability faster than anyone I've ever seen. And the worst part? She did it to herself. Executives are whispering things they wouldn't dare have said a year ago. Casting directors are allegedly calling her uncoachable. Producers are straight up labeling her a PR nightmare. And trust me, this story is far from over. If you don't want to miss what happens next, smash that subscribe button and join us here on Fame Feast. More shocking Hollywood stories coming your way. You won't believe what's next.